your brain still needs a steady supply of fuel, and it draws that fuel from a reserve of glycogen stored in your liver. When that reserve runs low in the early hours, your body interprets the shortage as a stress event and releases cortisol and adrenaline to free up emergency energy. That hormone surge is exactly what wakes a lot of people at 3 or 4 in the morning, hearts faintly racing, minds suddenly switched on. A small amount of raw honey before bed tops up that liver glycogen in a slow, gentle way. The unique sugar ratio in honey is absorbed steadily rather than spiking and crashing, which keeps the brain fueled through the night and prevents that stress hormone wake-up. People who try this often report not that they fall asleep faster, but that they stop waking in the small hours and finally sleep through. That 3 in the morning wake-up is so common it has almost become a joke, but the mechanism behind it is real. When the liver's fuel runs low overnight, the body treats it as an emergency and pours out cortisol and adrenaline to release stored energy. Those are alerting hormones. They are designed to wake you up and get you moving. So you find yourself wide awake, sometimes anxious, for no reason you can name, and unable to get back down because your stress chemistry is now switched on. Keeping the fuel topped up quietly removes the trigger. This is also the hidden logic behind an old remedy that grandmothers swore by: a little honey in warm milk before bed. For generations, people assumed it was simply comforting. We can now see there is real physiology in it. The honey stabilizes overnight blood sugar, and the warm milk provides tryptophan, a building block your body uses in the sleep and mood pathway. The folk remedy was quietly correct, and now we understand the wiring. Plain sugar would spike your blood glucose and trigger an insulin crash that does the opposite of what you want. Raw honey's particular blend of fructose and glucose, along with its trace compounds, produces a smoother, more sustained release. This is the mechanism teased at the start of this video, and it is why a spoonful of honey can succeed where a melatonin tablet, which addresses a completely different part of the sleep system, often disappoints. The protocol is simple. 1 teaspoon of raw honey about 30 minutes before bed, taken on its own or in a little cool water. Not a tablespoon, not a dessert, just a teaspoon. More is not better here, because a large dose can swing your blood sugar the wrong way. The goal is a quiet, steady fuel reserve, not a sugar event. If you currently wake at the same time every night and struggle to get back down, this is the single experiment from this entire video I would try first. Give it 2 weeks of consistency. The cost is 1 teaspoon a night, and the potential payoff is the kind of unbroken sleep that changes how every other part of your day feels. Number 4, prebiotic fuel. Feeding the microbiome. We touched on this earlier, and now we go deeper, because this may be the most underappreciated thing raw honey does. Hidden among its sugars is a category of compounds called oligosaccharides, complex sugar chains that your own digestive enzymes cannot break down. Because you cannot digest them, these oligosaccharides travel all the way to your large intestine intact, and there they become a feast for your beneficial bacteria, especially the bifidobacteria and lactobacilli that researchers associate with good mood, strong immunity, and a calm gut. In other words, part of what you eat in raw honey is not for you at all. It is for the trillions of microbes that quietly shape how you feel. This is what makes honey a prebiotic, food for your good bacteria, which is different from a probiotic, which is the bacteria themselves. The two work together. And honey's prebiotic effect is gentle and well tolerated, where some prebiotic supplements cause uncomfortable bloating as the microbes adjust. Raw honey tends to feed them at a pace your gut can handle. When those beneficial bacteria ferment the special sugars in honey, they produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. And these are quietly some of the most important molecules in your whole body. They are the preferred fuel for the cells lining your colon. They help keep the gut barrier tight and sealed. and they send anti-inflammatory signals that travel far beyond the gut. So the prebiotic sugars in honey do not just feed bacteria in the abstract. They drive the production of the exact compounds that repair the gut lining we discussed earlier. Every chapter in this video is connected to the others. Microbial diversity is the real prize. A modern processed diet, low in fiber and high in refined sugar, tends to starve out the variety of bacteria and leave a narrow, less resilient population behind. That loss of diversity is associated with all kinds of problems, from mood disorders to weakened immunity. Feeding your microbes a steady supply of the prebiotic sugars in raw honey is one small daily way to nudge that diversity back in the right direction. Here is why this reaches all the way to your mood. The bacteria that these oligosaccharides feed are deeply involved in producing and regulating the neurotransmitters that govern how you feel, including the precursors to serotonin. A well-fed microbiome is, in a very real biochemical sense, part of your emotional regulation system. Feed it well over weeks, and many people notice a steadier, calmer baseline. For the prebiotic benefit, consistency beats quantity, just like everywhere else with honey. A daily teaspoon delivers a steady supply of these special sugars to your gut bacteria, and a steady supply is what they thrive on. Pair it, if you like, with other prebiotic foods such as garlic, onions, slightly green bananas, and oats, and you build a diet your microbiome genuinely flourishes on. The accessible version of this is almost laughably simple. Replace one processed sweet thing in your day, a flavored yogurt, a spoon of jam, a sugary coffee syrup with a teaspoon of raw honey. You are not adding anything difficult to your life. You are swapping something that feeds the wrong microbes for something that feeds the right ones. Number 5, immune priming, the daily defense. A huge portion of your immune system lives in and around your gut, which means everything we have already discussed: the antimicrobial action, the gut repair, the fed microbiome, feeds directly into a stronger, more balanced immune response. But raw honey also brings its own immune-supporting cargo to the table. Raw, unfiltered honey carries traces of pollen, propolis, and a wide spectrum of plant antioxidants that the bees gather from hundreds of flowers. Propolis in particular is the resin bees use to seal and protect their hive, and it is rich in antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory compounds. When you eat raw honey, you are getting a tiny, diverse dose of all of it, the kind of variety no single supplement can replicate. This is why raw honey has been a frontline remedy for sore throats and coughs across so many cultures and centuries. It coats and soothes irritated tissue. Its antimicrobial action goes to work on what is causing the irritation, and major health bodies now recommend honey for nighttime coughs in older children precisely because the evidence holds up. Old wisdom and modern research pointing at the same jar. The cough evidence is genuinely strong and worth dwelling on because it is so well documented. In controlled trials, a spoonful of honey before bed has matched or outperformed common over-the-counter cough medicines for easing nighttime cough and helping children and their parents actually sleep. That is a rare thing in natural medicine, a simple kitchen remedy holding its own against a pharmaceutical product in a proper trial. It works because it is doing several things at once, soothing the tissue, fighting microbes, and triggering saliva that calms the cough reflex. Beyond acute illness, the steady antioxidant load matters for the long game. Raw honey is rich in polyphenols and flavonoids, the same family of protective plant compounds found in berries, green tea, and dark leafy greens. These compounds help neutralize the cellular stress that drives chronic inflammation and aging. A daily teaspoon is not going to outdo a plate of vegetables, but it adds a small, pleasant, consistent stream of these protective compounds to your day, which is exactly the kind of quiet habit that compounds over months and years.